Hey everybody, it's Jang here from jangbricks.com with an exciting new update about my zoo in progress. So this is a whole series of videos that I've been doing just showing the process of how I go about making custom stuff from the start. So up until now, everything's been super rough, and that's just the way that it goes when I'm building stuff, especially new large things. They are complex. It's a process. That's what I've been documenting with this series of videos, is showing you that process of how it actually goes. And along the way, you know, you see a lot of points where things just don't make sense, or they look really sad and unfinished because they are completely unfinished, and that's just what really happens. You don't just immediately go to something that looks great and is YouTube worthy and Flickr worthy and all that. Along the way, there's a lot of ugly looking stuff. But since the last video, I've gotten in some new parts and I've started to make the thing real. So the biggest deal for me was getting in parts to make the outside, the walls. So I've got the color scheme in general for the walls, and more recently added a little bit of detail on the top. There's still a ton of experimentation here. There's absolutely no guarantee that anything that you see here will be in the finished product, but I'm trying to move towards getting it closer to finished product. And towards that end, I've started to make some things a little bit more final-ish. Very important thing along the way was figuring out exactly what size each exhibit would be, and each major component of the zoo would have to be. So early on, I had done, for instance, a little food shack, and I had done it just as a plate with a couple windows and just the most basic stuff on it. Now it is complete because I figured out that the size that I was going for was going to work, so I went ahead and finished that. I'll show that, I'll show all the finished products in the final video once this thing is actually done. More recently, I did the gift shop and started that out again as just a flat plate with just some general placement of parts to represent where things would be, so I could figure out how large these things needed to be. Once I had the size figured out, I was able to really figure out the layout, the final, well, I don't know if it's going to be final, but more final layout of the exhibits and sizes of them. Because of that, I was able to start putting in the exhibits themselves and make them a little bit more final. So you can see I've got the gator and hippo pit there with a little bit of a mosaic on the back. It kind of ties into the base down there. And over here we've got the bear pen. So I did decide to keep that just down to 2 bears in total. Got a little rock face on the back. And my lion has his own small little area. Put a little, again, a mosaic on the back there, a little sunset. So he's got his space and it's small, and in the process figured out, what I wanted to do for the sides. Do want to leave plenty of light coming in there. Did a lot of experimentation on the heights of the windows and stuff like that. And you'll notice I've got these little gray bits down here. So a whole row of gray, full brick high going down the sides. That's actually going to be the height of the floor. So the floor is going to be elevated. You can see it there. The floor is going to be 1 brick up. And then these animal areas are actually down. So they're down at the base plate. Well, just 1 plate above the base plate. And you can see the brick. Oh, come on, focus. You can see the brick there, the gray brick line going around the edge. And there you can see there's kind of a slope on the inside. So it's just some of the important foundational stuff that's been figured out along the way. And I got this sized the way that I wanted it, and really helps having the giraffe, the smaller sized giraffe. So lots of stuff has been figured out up to this point, and it's becoming more real. Figuring out the minimum size that I could use or end up with for the bathroom was really important. Being able to fit that down the walkway at the end there with 2 separate stalls was really important. Getting that absolutely minimized. Like I'm always trying to make everything as small as I can while maintaining just enough detail so you can recognize what it is. Figured out a little bit more of the space of how much stuff I can get into the aquarium area. Still need to figure out next what I'm going to put here in the middle, since I did end up with enough space to have either another exhibit in there or a pair of exhibits that are kind of bifurcated down the center, and that needs to be figured out yet. And then the shape of the aquarium building, the shape and style of the aquarium building needs to be figured out, because I kind of feel like the history of the zoo would start with just the animal section, just the land section, and then later on at some point after the zoo was in existence for a decade or so, they added on this entire new wing. So I would think that this would be a newer building. It's not going to have the same motif. It's not going to have that same, wooded, jungly, foresty kind of feel to it. Of course, that wouldn't make sense for water-based stuff. So I got to figure out color scheme and general aesthetic. So still a ton of stuff yet to be done. A ton of stuff yet to be done. But the good news is that a ton of progress has been made, and it's feeling better, and you're starting to see a little bit of just a glimmer of the type of look of the thing, which you'll start to see as this gets all finished up. But still, like I said, lots more to go, so stay tuned. Be patient with me, please. I very much appreciate that. This is just the process, and along the way you will see a lot of stuff that you won't like, and then when the thing is done, magically a lot of that won't even exist, won't even be recognizable. But that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.